everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Don't Yuck My Yum. As always, we are your co-hosts, Courtney and
Carlito.
And if you don't know what this is about us, a newly married couple, reviewing movies, TV shows, books, eventually, of something that we like and we want to show the other, and then they review it, whether they yuck it or yum it. And today was Carlito's choice.
We're trying something a little different because normally I had the idea to do episodes like this where we both just kind of, just rank on something that neither of us like. But usually, I was thinking of originally be like something we had both already seen. But going into this episode, it was like, okay, I already kind of have mixed feelings about this, and I'm showing you it. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay. I literally thought as I woke up this morning, I was like, I don't think this can be counted as a regular episode. I think we got to do something different for it.
Right.
So I just thought maybe we'll make this Yuckathon number 1. So this is where this will be a portion of the show we do every now and again where it's basically going to be both of us just ranking on something that we just don't like. And we'll do other versions called Yumathon where we might watch something we both really enjoy. And we just talk about how much we really like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just because usually we would do something like I would show you a movie that I really enjoy and then you would show me something that you really enjoy.
Right.
But I feel like for this was kind of different of how we did it. So I'm going to say we go this route for the episode. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So do you want to talk about what did I make you watch?
The movie that we are going to be bashing and yucking on today is Batman versus Superman. And this was...
That's not the full title.
What's the full title?
Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's actually the full title.
Dawn of Justice?
Dawn of Justice.
That's stupid.
Because it's supposed to be Dawn of...
Like...
Justice.
But...
The Justice League.
Who's the Justice? Oh,
like, I don't know if that's supposed to be the reference
like the start of it. Somewhere?
Yeah, Dawn of the Justice. Like the Justice is just beginning, even though Batman's already been doing the Justice thing for a while. But this is the Justice happening now.
You're probably right with the referencing Justice League.
Yeah, and this is also the Ultimate Edition we watched. So
right,
3 hours.
What? It was long.
It was long, yeah. I thought I told you it was 3 hours.
I don't remember you saying that. I think I kept thinking of the Snyder cut that you were saying is going to be like really long. But I didn't know this one was long in itself.
Yeah. Did it feel long?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just start by explaining the plot if you think that would maybe help clear some things up before we start.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay. So the movie starts and we see Bruce Wayne's parents get killed again. This time it's like we see it as like more like a brutal thing, and then the funeral, like it starts off with like the Bruce Wayne parents' funeral is happening, and then he's getting flashbacks to his parents getting killed, and it's all in slow motion. He's a controversial figure. His dad's the comedian from Watchmen and tries to like punch the mugger, and then like he gets shot, and then the mugger just puts the gun in the mother's face, and then I guess just blows her head off, and then Bruce Wayne sees this and screams. So I guess in this way this explains the more brutal version of Batman. Something like that. Batman wakes up, and Batman's all like, "You gotta find the other man in red armor shouting," or the government does, or someone has it. They know that it can hurt. Lois Lane's the key, and Superman's evil because they use it on General Zod's body. Dirt rises to Superman's great, and since they found that's the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
So, do you want me to like talk about my history with this movie?
Yeah, because I think after that explanation, I don't think that was clear.
Okay, so yeah,
so I guess you should talk about like how obviously you're a fan of the Batman.
Yeah, I'm a fan of like everything Batman, Superman. I like I'm a DC fanboy, I guess you could say.
You're a DC dude.
DC dude, yeah. I like that more.
Yeah.
But it makes me sound hip.
Yeah.
Fanboy sounds.
You're a DC
geeky.
dude rather than a Marvel man.
Hey. Marvel man sounds cooler, though. A DC dude sounds like a poser.
No. You're a DC dude.
Okay. I like that. Okay, so... Yeah, so this was like... I was trying to explain like what's going on with like the history of the making of this movie. So basically at this point with like superhero movies, we had already gotten the Avengers and
Right.
Marvel was already kind of building up their universe.
They were on the up and up.
Yeah. And at this point I think it was like Warner Brothers, who owns DC, they had like in the meantime of like Marvel coming out with like all their movies, setting up their universe, the only thing they really had going for them were the Nolan Batman movies. And Nolan was like very clear in that like he just like his movies were just solo on their own, like wasn't a shared universe, and he really didn't want anything interfering with that, because there was going to be another Justice League movie that was going to come out I think in 2008. It would have come out the same time as, or around this. It would have been the same year as The Dark Knight, but it would have been a different version of Batman, played by Armie Hammer.
Oh, really?
Directed by George Miller, the guy who did the Mad Max movie you love.
Oh, yeah.
And it was going to just introduce a whole new shared universe of these characters. Like, it was, like, they had costumes, the script was written, it was going. But I think there was a writer's strike in Hollywood, and then Nolan again spoke up with, like, he didn't want anything like that while he was doing his Batman movies, so that obviously got canned. So in the meantime, it's like Marvel's building up their universe, and then DC, all they got is like these Batman movies, the Nolan Batman movies, which are great. And then I think on the side there was like Watchmen, and then I think Green Lantern, and that was it. And Green Lantern was another attempt to build a shared universe, but obviously that movie did horrible.
It was a flop.
It was a big flop. And it's a really bad movie, apparently. I've never actually seen it.
You haven't?
No.
Well, I actually have.
Oh, how is it?
I mean, I'm not, I guess, a big critic on it. I guess it wasn't, like, the best movie.
Mm-hmm.
But Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, that's where they met.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's where they met?
That's how they met, and now
Aw.
they're married and have babies.
That's good. I guess one good thing came out of it.
Yeah, one good thing. That's why he was, like, Ryan Reynolds, like, jokes that, like, yeah, he's, like, regrets doing that. But at the same time, he doesn't, because he's like, well, that's where I met my wife.
So he doesn't regret it.
No, he doesn't regret it. I think he's like, yeah, it sucks that it was such a terrible movie, but I will always be grateful to it because it's where I met my wife. So I was like, yeah.
And he got to riff on it a lot in the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
It was funny.
But so anyway, Marvel finishes up, like they come out with the Avengers, and then the same year Dark Knight Rises comes out, last of the Nolan movies. And I think DC was already gearing up to reboot the Superman franchise, because that had been kind of on the slippery slope for a while, because it was like you had the Christopher Reeves movies,
right?
And then they tried to redo it with the Brandon Routh Superman Returns movie, which was kind of sort of a reboot / revisit / sequel to those movies, but it didn't do, I think it did well, like, financially, but I don't think it got enough, like,
fan base.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people were divided on it, because, like, watching it's like, it's not a bad movie, but it's just kind of like, where does this take place? What is this? What's the point of it? And it was directed by Bryan Singer, of all guys, who did the first two X-Men movies, and he left X-Men 3 to go do Superman Returns. And it's kind of funny because apparently, like, he complained for a while. He was like, they didn't let me do another Superman movie because I was going to put Darkseid in it. And he would, like, complain about all this crap. And it's like, well, maybe you should have done something like that for this one, because you just did a big retread movie that no one cares about anymore. So they were like, okay, we're going to have to redo this again. And so they kind of wanted it to be more gritty and stuff. And so they came out with Man of Steel. They got Zack Snyder to direct it, who he was good at, like, doing, like, the gritty type superhero type movies, because he did Watchmen. And then this came out, and it did super well, Man of Steel, like, financially, because it was a Superman movie. I think, obviously, like, critically wise, it was split down the middle. And we actually watched that last weekend in preparation for this because I was like, well, you kind of have to see that movie to understand this movie.
Yeah, because it picks up right where Man of Steel pretty much left off.
Yeah, pretty much. And so on the back of that, and then with Marvel had already come out with the Avengers, and they're already like setting up for the next Avengers movie and doing more, and like just they keep going and they're splitting off into TV shows and all this stuff. Warner Brothers and DC were like, okay, we gotta pick it up here. So this movie, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, is basically like the catch-up movie. That's kind of how I always looked at it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is how we can catch up to Marvel. This is how we can introduce Batman, Wonder Woman, all the other characters in one movie in one big swoop.
Yeah, they were like, they have the Avengers. Well, we need the team of all the other superheroes.
We need the Justice League.
We need the Justice League, so let's get them together. And I guess this is how we're starting it.
Yeah.
Because Diana, she just kind of shows up. She's just there.
She's just there.
And then they allude to Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flash.
In files.
Yeah, in
on
files.
A hard drive from Lex Luthor's computer. Which is kind of weird. I always thought it was kind of weird. Like, so did Lex Luthor make their symbols?
Seemed like it. Seemed like it, doesn't it?
He probably had someone who worked for him, some tech
nerd.
Yeah, can you do this? You're not gonna get paid though. But so okay, how
Where
do you
even start with this?
Well, how do you feel about it? Because that's where I'm interested in. Because I think Man of Steel, you were kind of like, eh.
I was about Man of Steel. Like, it just, I don't know. What did I say the other day? I was just kind of like...
You said you were bored.
I was kind of bored. Like, the story was kind of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the story didn't really catch me.
Yeah.
And I think it was like they overdid it. Like, they were like very over the top of certain things. And the more subtle things with like the relationships, there was no relationships. Like, the father, like...
It was all surface level.
Yeah, like the father and, Clark, I didn't get that relationship. Like, you didn't feel any sort of connection there. And then when Lois comes in, it's like, hey, let's just met. I love you. It's like, what?
Right.
Like, you don't know. Like, she met him as Superman rather than as Clark first. And they didn't have... It's like, she found out he was Superman, and then he starts working for the Daily Planet. She already knows who he is. And
yeah.
I was like, this is backwards.
Which I was always thought, like, how did he get a job like that right away? Because it seems like a person as Clark Kent who's just been doing all these odd jobs of, like, he worked in a bar, and he was a fisherman, and he did this, and he did that.
I know.
And all of a sudden,
just
he's
being
like
a wanderer.
Yeah, and he also he's like one of the top reporters for this newspaper, one of the top newspapers in the country. I was like,
Lois put in a good word for him.
She must have.
And
they must have.
like, you hire him or I walk.
It was probably like she wrote up a bunch of stuff. Like, don't worry, I'll write a bunch of articles and just say you did it, and then she just turned him in. It was probably like that.
Yeah.
So, I think how I feel about Man of Steel is like, well, honestly, watching it this time, I think I enjoyed it more of like coming off of something like Wonder Woman 84, which was that was confusing as hell. So I thought, okay, well, at least Man of Steel is like somewhat little more streamlined with the plot. It's just, it makes a lot of odd choices along the way.
Yeah.
And I kind of get like, there's a part of me is like, I kind of get why there's the back half of that movie's just so destructive and action packed, just because like I'd say like for most of the Superman cinematic like career, there really wasn't like a Superman movie fights like that. Yeah, like Superman Returns, the last Superman movie that came out, like I think maybe 7 years at that point before, like there's barely any action. You don't see Superman actually punch anybody. He doesn't really do anything like that.
Right.
So I thought, okay, they're gonna compensate for all that.
Well, they definitely did.
I think they kind of
went a little too much with it.
Yeah,
because it was like one fight ends, you have like maybe just a 2-minute window, and then it's like, oh, here goes another one. Let's do it again.
Right.
It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
a lot of the same kind of action too.
Yeah, and then with Batman versus Superman, it was just like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
Like,
obviously.
A lot of it didn't make sense. Like, I had a lot of questions with, like, with Lex Luthor. One, how does he know their identities? How is he aware of who Clark is, who Bruce is? Why is he putting them together? Why did we make Lex Luthor to be like a psycho madman rather than an evil genius? That doesn't make any sense.
These are all good questions, babe.
Where did Diana come from? She mentioned she's been around for like the past 100 years. She stayed out of men's world because...
For 100 years,
apparently.
Except in the 80s.
That didn't happen.
I don't know.
That didn't happen.
Did it happen? I don't know anymore.
But what has she been doing? How does she know about Lex Luthor? And how did she figure out he took a picture that was hers? And how did that happen? And how does she know who Bruce is? Like, she just kind of shows up, which I'm like, okay, we got to introduce her somehow. I guess this is the way we do it. We just put her in fancy dresses and
she just shows up and
says, and then Bruce has to be all gross.
When was he gross?
Like when he comes up behind her and is like, me,
yeah.
Let me try to schmooze you because I'm Bruce Wayne and I need to be that. But I'm like, you're being gross.
I think he was like, because I think the museum guy was like, this is a sword, this is an ancient sword. And then Bruce Wayne's like, it's a fake sword.
And she's like, yeah, I know.
She's like, I know it's a fake sword.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation they have.
Yeah.
I don't know what that meant. I was like, what, is this supposed to mean something?
It doesn't mean like we're both knowledgeable and powerful people and we both can figure out things. So that's why she's like, I'm not like any woman you've ever met.
I was trying... The first time I saw this, I was like, are they going to set up like a relationship between them?
I thought that too. I'm like, why are we putting Batman and Wonder Woman together?
Well, they've been together.
That's weird.
I don't know so much in the comics, but in the Justice League animated show, there is like a lot of hints of them kind of like having a thing for each other. You know,
it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, none of it makes sense. It's all made up, but but you know, I think there is a way that you could do that, but I think the problem with this movie is just like there's too much.
There's too much going on. Like, it's just like it all seems so out of character.
Yeah.
It just is like with Clark being Superman, you know, all the public accusing him of murdering people and doing all this stuff. I'm like, why would Superman do any of that?
Yeah.
He has no motive.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are stupid. Like, he's done nothing but save people.
Yeah. At least, like, the whole time he's been around. I mean, I guess people are still, like, upset about his blowing up Metropolis and all that.
Right.
But, hold on, I gotta put the password in my computer.
Well, that too, I'm
Boom.
like, yeah, like, them making Superman out to be like he doesn't care about people, which I guess that's more so in the next movie. They make it even more so that he doesn't care about people.
You mean in Batman vs. Superman? Or in Justice League?
In Justice League, right? Is that what you said?
No.
Or in this one?
In this one.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't think it's so much that he doesn't care about people. It's just that he doesn't know what to do because he feels obligated to protect the world because he has these powers and everything.
Yeah.
But it goes back to Man of Steel where it's like, the version of Jonathan Kent in these movies, I absolutely do not like.
Annoying.
I don't like it. I don't like the characterization. Kevin Costner's great. I think he does what he does with the material, but I think as the character, I'm not into it.
I don't think he does him justice.
No, because in Man of Steel...
Get it? Justice?
But in Man of Steel, Jonathan Kent's character in general, the parents are supposed to be like inspirational to him being Superman.
They're his guiding voice.
And they don't have any good advice.
They have nothing to tell him. Like, he comes home, like, he even tries to talk to his mom, and she's just like, you don't owe them nothing.
You owe the world nothing. You don't... I'm like, what?
I'm like, that's not what Martha would say. She would be like, you know what you have to do. You do the right thing. You be their protector.
Yeah.
And it's okay if they're upset because you know that you're doing the right thing, or whatever she wants to say.
It would kind of... Yeah, if she said something like that, it would kind of emanate a lot of, like, what...
like, your father and I taught you to do the right thing.
Yeah, and what Russell Crowe in the first movie, he plays Jor-El.
Yeah.
He plays Superman's Kryptonian father, and he says a lot of that stuff, like, you know, that they will stumble, they will fall, like, they're not going to understand you at first, but eventually they will understand why you're here.
We forget.
And it feels like, we just throw all that out. It's like, no, people don't understand you, and all this kind of stuff. And, like, in Man of Steel, Jonathan Kent's just like, he's like, no, you shouldn't show your powers, and you should hide from the world.
Don't save me from this random tornado where my foot got caught in the door of the car.
Awful.
And then, he could clearly save him, and he's so quick, no one would even see.
No, he could just fly him out of there real quick and then come back and get his mom. And
seriously.
It would happen so fast. But
no, he can't be the hero.
No, I don't like it that Jonathan Kent just has hide who you are. Like, even the part where in the first movie when he had to save the school bus full of people, the kids.
Yeah.
And then he's just like,
maybe you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, he's
maybe you should have let that school of kids drown. I'm like, what father would say that?
Why would you say that?
He would be like, you
did the right thing.
Like, you knew you could. You had these abilities, and you saved them.
I am proud of you.
And I'm proud of you. Not like, man, Clark, you really effed up because you
really screwed the pooch there. What is your deal, man? I mean, there are some moments I think the only moment I like between them is when he shows him his ship in the barn. And he's like, can I just keep pretending I'm your son? And he's like, you are my son.
Like, that's a nice...
I like that. I like that moment. But okay, so then going back to BVS, there's a scene which I still don't understand why it happens. But Superman goes to a mountain because he's sad. And
it's like he's doing his thing that he did in Man of Steel. He's like, well, I need to figure this out, so I'm going to go wander and be a pouty boy.
Yeah. And he goes to the top of this mountain, and his dad is up there.
Like, he sees his dad, and it's clearly like a subconsciousness, and they're just portraying it in the actor to see that and have him have this talk moment.
And he's throwing rocks on top of a thing.
I don't get that.
I don't get it. I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? You're chopping bricks and you're putting the bricks on a pile just because?
Yeah.
Because it's manly or something?
He's building something up, babe. It takes a while to build something, and you just kind of got to throw it on the pile and see where it sticks.
Yeah, so they have a little heart-to-heart. Which, what does he even tell him?
He tells him this awful story about when he was a kid.
Oh, yeah. And he helped his father with a pipe that broke, right?
Yeah, and they had to, like, dig out the ground so that, like, their farm wouldn't flood. Divert the water. And then he's like, and then your grandma made me a cake, and I was eating my hero cake. And then he's like...
my hero cake.
And then but then the water we diverted... flooded this farm, and all the horses drowned, and I can still hear the horses screaming in my nightmares. And I'm like, man, you suck. You don't have any good advice for anything.
And I'm like, and that's supposed to make Clark feel better because
it's exactly what he needs to hear. That is the one thing I don't like about some of the movies of Superman. Like, just I always liked to have them both alive, like his parents, because then Superman can go to them and kind of get advice from them when he needs it. He needs to just go back to the farm.
Well, he already lost his real parents. Like, so why take away his adoptive parents?
I think it was to make him more like Batman. It was like, I think Man of Steel was like
we'll get to that.
An idea to make him like, which again doesn't work because I always felt Superman's supposed to be like the brighter hero, but in this he's just dark and depressing like Batman. Which, do you want to get into Batman? Because Batman's in this movie, babe.
I know.
He is the titular character. His name is before Superman.
Right. So, okay.
Batfleck. How do you feel about Batfleck?
Batfleck. I don't know. It sounds like Affleck. Okay, so Batman... It starts with him where he's just he's in Metropolis, which first I was confused about because I'm like, why are you there? You're from Gotham. Mm-hmm. But apparently in this world, Gotham and Metropolis are, what you said, sister cities?
Yeah, they're like right across the bay from each other.
Yeah, they're literally across the bay from each other. I'm like, okay.
All right.
I always kind of had a feeling that Gotham kind of had more of that New York-y feel. And I always thought Metropolis was like a San Francisco feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I'm close to that. I always thought, Gotham's like more, it's like New Jersey.
Yeah.
And then I always thought like Metropolis was like Illinois or something like that.
Illinois?
Yeah, like Chicago-esque type city.
I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, so like that, I mean. But yeah, no, like San Francisco or like something like that sounds a little better.
Well, I think just like a big city near the water or something. I don't know. I just had like a San Francisco vibe.
Right.
Anyway, apparently we're right across the bay from each other. We can literally see Gotham from Metropolis and vice versa, which I was like, weird, but okay.
Yeah.
And apparently he is in Metropolis because apparently he has like a branch there.
Yeah.
And then, but he is witnessing Superman and Zod fight, and Superman, running into a bunch of buildings, and people getting killed in the process. Mm-hmm. Which is not Superman's fault, but I don't know how Superman could have really made it better.
I guess take the fight somewhere else.
Well, like the aliens, the Kryptonians, which are aliens, they brought their ship there and did the whole energy like.
The what?
I'm not doing that
the
again.
Energy thing.
It's like wah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It is a cool sound effect.
Yeah, and it's like they were trying to like mess up the Earth's core or something.
Yeah, in Man of Steel they try, because there's one in Metropolis and there's one on the opposite side of the Earth in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah,
and they're trying to remake the Earth as like Krypton, basically.
Right,
so that
they brought that there, so he had to destroy that thing. And then him and Zod are going at it. So I don't know if he could have been like, hey, Zod, follow me to nowhere and then let's fight. Like, I don't know about that.
Do you remember in Man of Steel when there's like the whole subplot about all of the like generations of the Codex of all the Kryptonians are inside Superman? Do you remember that?
Kind of.
Do you remember like that's a thing?
Apparently. Because that's when he puts the Codex in Jor-El, his dad. He steals that and then light beams it into his son.
Yeah. Aren't you glad that they didn't? That wasn't a thing at all in this movie.
No, that was not really mentioned.
I feel like that was something that could have came back up, but I guess we forgot about that. I guess it doesn't matter anymore because all the Kryptonians are dead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess so. And yeah, so then he's obviously back to Bruce. He's all pissed, Ben Affleck, because he's watching this alien destroy the city and is killing people, and he's not about it.
Yeah. Which I thought, like, right there, like, that's, okay, boom. That's the perfect motivation we need for Batman to not like
Because
Superman.
in his point of view, he's not helping. He's destroying.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of is.
I guess. So that's why I guess where the initial disdain for Superman comes from him. And then I guess he then goes on this mission of how to kill him.
Yeah.
And then Alfred's all like, this is suicide. You're going after somebody who cannot be killed. Like, what? You're gonna die.
Yeah, and he's not our enemy.
He's not our enemy.
You're blinded by hate. And
yeah, because he's all like, my mom and dad died, and everybody's dying, and I gotta kill somebody about it. So, which, that's an issue I have, is Batman, he's not a killer.
No, and he just point blank kills a lot of people in this movie.
He kills so many people.
Like, I know people are like, no, there are people that defend this movie and say, like, he's not killing them. He's just,
Are we watching the same movie? Like, I'm pretty sure all those explosions killed those people.
Like, y'all, you mean the part where he...
flipped cars?
He shoots a car, and then he takes the car and he flips it, and he makes the car fall on another car full of people. Yeah, those people aren't dead.
No, they're fine. They're totally fine. Well, that's just such a hypocritical thing of him, then. If he's all pissed and upset at Superman for killing people, he's doing the same thing.
But he's killing the bad people, babe.
But he's killing the bad guys.
So it's fine, I guess.
It's better, I guess. Like, well, anyway.
I mean, that's always been the thing with Batman. That's his, like, number one rule. He doesn't kill people.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think it's such out of character. It's like he'll fight them and he'll injure them, and put them away. But that's his justice part, is they go to jail and they get tried, and all those things. He's not taking... Well, he's kind of taking the law in his own hands, but he's not taking life. But in this one, he is.
He brands them, too.
And he brands them.
What
is that about?
I don't know.
I still don't get
They
that.
don't explain why he does it.
Was
he just
it like,
does
hey,
it.
I don't want... Like, first I thought, is he branding them because when the people go to jail... I don't know. I think it's just
other
edgy. Inmates will see that he was branded... And I don't know if they're like, oh, you're, I don't even know. It's messed up thinking. It's like, oh, you're weak. Are you gonna, are you a spy for the Batman or something now?
I don't know.
So now we're gonna kill you. Like, I don't get it.
Well, and also because it's like, why would the other criminals care? Like, all the criminals don't like Batman.
I know. So why would the criminals? That's what
the
I'm
majority of them are probably in there because of him.
I know. So I'm like, why do they care if he's been branded by the Batman?
Well, I think it's supposed to just be for the plot that the people who get branded by Batman are sent to Metropolis prison, and then they're killed there, and then that's supposed to be blaming Batman for more murder, which upsets Superman, which was also concocted by Lex Luthor. But one thing I want to say, if Batman's so keen on just killing whoever, why doesn't he just kill the Joker then? Why does the Joker even exist in this universe? He should just kill him.
Well, does he even?
No. Well, from what it's implied is that, because the movie that comes after this, which I won't make you watch because it's even worse than this, is Suicide Squad.
Oh.
And the Joker's alive in it, and it's obviously like post this movie because they talk about like, oh, Superman's dead, and
they talk about that in
Suicide Squad. Yeah, that's kind of how the plot is set up, is that like, oh, since Superman's dead, we need to have a team of people that can protect us so that
they go for bad guys.
I guess
that doesn't make any sense.
A lot of this doesn't make sense. So Batman it's so exhausting talking about
it is
this.
It's like none of this makes sense.
But so Batman, yeah, he brands people,
which out of character. He kills people out of character.
Yeah,
he just, I think see, from what I know of Batman, he does his research and he looks for the truth, but he's so quick to hate Superman and believe that he's some bad murderous person.
I think the idea we're supposed to get is like, this is obviously like more of a warped, violent Batman because like obviously he's been Batman a while. That you see Wayne Manor is like,
Wayne Manor
looks like it's been burnt or something, or it's abandoned
and it's in shambles.
So he lives like on
this like modern, all walls are windows kind of place,
which I feel like kind of weird for someone like Bruce Wayne,
because I'm like, he hides.
You can't hide there.
No,
everyone can see you.
I was like, why does he have all windows as well? Because I'm like, everybody can see him. That's not him. He wants to hide all his Batman stuff. Like, what?
And it's he's also like, he's sleeping with women and he's drinking, but he's also Batman. I don't know if you. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that could work.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't be able to drink any alcohol at all and be Batman at the same time.
No, because you never know when you need to go.
Yeah. Alcohol just weakens your body, and it's like, if you need to stay absolutely fit as Batman does, I think alcohol, you can't indulge in that at all. And also what was I going to say? Then the Robin costume.
I didn't know that was Robin's costume.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Robin's costume.
When I saw it, I thought it was an old costume of Batman's.
Oh.
Like, I couldn't clearly see a color difference. It just looked all black to me.
It looked all dark and muted like every other color in these movies.
Yeah, like I didn't see red and green. You know how Robin's like, that's his colors.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's Robin's?
It was, because apparently Joker killed Robin. And it's apparently the Dick Grayson Robin. Mm. That's what Zack Snyder said, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said like, oh no, this is supposed to be the first Robin who was killed. Probably just to make it a clean slate. Like, oh, there was a Robin, he was killed, but there's no other Robins. Like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Whatever you say.
Okay, so you don't like Batman.
What he does doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't fit who he is.
Right.
I think it goes against his character.
Yeah, a lot.
And I know you like Ben Affleck as Batman.
I like his performance. I think a lot of the choices they make Batman do is kind of weird, though.
Yeah, I personally don't see him as Batman. I don't know if it's because...
He's Ben Affleck.
Well, not that. It's just like... Well, he does seem older, which I guess maybe that's fine if that's just the timeline we're going with.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just didn't... He didn't give me that Batman vibe. Like, I think between... Maybe it was his Bruce Wayne. Maybe his Batman's fine, but I didn't really care for his Bruce Wayne. I didn't get Bruce from him.
Gotcha.
Like, from what I know from, like, the show, the animated show.
Well, the animated series is probably the best representation of, like, Batman overall. Because he has, like, he's Batman. Like, when he's Batman, like, that's who he is. And then when he's out in the town as Bruce Wayne, he kind of puts on this persona of, like the silly playboy guy who's just like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, he was a little more likable.
Yeah,
whereas this Bruce Wayne's not very likable.
No, he kind of just acts the same.
He acts the same. Like, it's like his Batman and his Bruce Wayne were the same.
Like, even I would say, like, Christian Bale's Batman kind of has a little bit more going to him. Yeah,
Christian Bale's Batman is a little more likable because he's kind of more that playboy, like...
He puts on that persona when he's in front of people.
Yeah, a little more lighthearted, a little more smiley. This dude, he never smiles.
No.
I think that's what it is.
He doesn't smile.
He doesn't smile at all throughout the whole film.
I think he smiles, but it's always, like, snarky smiles. That's kind of... I don't know, but... Okay, so you don't like Batman.
No, he didn't fit.
But what about Lois Lane?
Oh, no.
Because this was back from Man of Steel. You weren't keen on Amy Adams as Lois Lane.
I'm sorry, Amy. Like, you're great. But
She's just not great, Lois
This
Lane.
role, I did not picture her. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I pictured somebody... One, I picture a brunette. Maybe that's just, you know... That's not completely necessary. But whenever I see her, I picture a brunette. Just how she acts, I'm like, why are they making Lois Lane all bitchy and stuff? Yeah,
I think that's the issue. Is like she's just right when you first meet her, she just kind of has all these comebacks and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's like she's a woman in a man's world, which I get. She tries to be like tough and stuff and has to like, you know, be her own, to be and kind of intimidating, to do what she's got to do. But I think I don't like her because, one, I think I don't really think there's any chemistry between her and Superman and
Man of Steel. You mean Henry Cavill?
Henry Cavill. Like, her and Henry Cavill, I don't see it. They rushed their relationship. Like, I was more upset for Superman dying because I'm like, no, he can't die. And then when you find out, he's going to propose, and I'm like, that's sad. But I don't see her as Lois Lane. Like, she doesn't fit the bill for me.
I think it's just the way they make her, because she almost comes off, like, especially more in Man of Steel, she comes off more as just, like, nosy.
Yeah, very... Which I guess that's
nosy. Like how reporters are, but it's like it's almost comes off as annoying. And I think in this one, I kind of think I tolerated her a little more in this one, just because. Yeah. I feel like her motives seemed better in this movie in Batman vs Superman, because she was trying to figure out the truth of like what, like, Superman didn't do this. Like, why are you all blaming him? You know. So I think I appreciated it more in this, but again, like, the plot that they string her along with, like, the bullet and all this stuff. That's the thing with this movie. It doesn't feel like a superhero movie at all.
No, it really doesn't.
It feels like a political drama.
It does.
Like, up until the end of the movie, when it's, like, Batman and Superman are fighting, and then it's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman fighting the gloopy Doomsday villain. Up until that point, it feels like a weird political, like dark drama thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because Marvel has done such a good job of making superhero movies that we kind of are now used to that formula of humor mixed with heart, mixed with
a lot of heart,
mixed with action sequences.
I'd say the heart more so than most, because it's like I think Marvel's good at, they know sometimes it's like there's a little too much jokiness.
Yeah.
But I think they know when it's necessary, when it's not. Like you watch something like Guardians of the Galaxy where it's like, okay, we know what this is like a silly, space exploration movie
for that story.
Exactly. And then you watch
for
something
his
like
character,
and you watch something like Infinity War or Endgame where they definitely take it a lot more seriously.
There's more serious, but we had all the other films to when we finally got to that point that it made sense because we had all that history with these characters. We knew these characters. We were rooting for these characters. So when we see them experience such loss and devastation, then we feel that too.
But for this happens,
it's just like
we don't know them.
We don't know them. The story's rushed. It's all doom and gloom, no lighthearted happiness. We're not connected to these characters. We don't feel for these characters. We're just questioning why are they doing what they're doing.
No. Like it's the part that always gets me is when Batman rescues Martha. When he rescues
which I was so stupid.
Martha
Kent.
Martha Kent. I get them confused. There's so many Marthas. Martha, like, I don't think, does anyone name their children Martha anymore?
Not nowadays.
I think that's one of the
name.
It's an older name. Yeah, I was about to say it's like an older name. But when he rescues Martha, he just goes like, "Don't worry, I'm a friend of your son's," and she's just like, "Yeah, I figured the cape," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, a joke!
Someone made a
joke in this movie."
She just had a traumatic experience, and she's like,
and she's making a joke.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
The cape? Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know
Which
she's like,
funny.
I guess she is Superman's mom, and she did get like threatened by Kryptonians in the Man of Steel movie. So I guess she's kind of used to this at this point. But it just felt like I was like, man, I wish we could have more of this. Not that this needs to be a jokey movie, but just more moments of levity.
Yeah.
It takes itself so seriously.
Too much so.
It's like, oh my gosh, like, this is a superhero movie about two superheroes fighting. Like, you need to have somewhat of a ridiculousness going on here.
I think the biggest problem I have with this movie is Lex Luthor.
Really?
That's the biggest problem I have with it.
Explain. Well, actually, no, I don't. Yeah, explain.
Okay. One, I think he's too young.
Okay.
They introduced him being, the real Lex Luthor or somebody. Like, his dad died. He's like, Pop died, so now I have the company. And they named it for me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
So it's kind of he inherited the company.
He inherited the company.
He didn't make it on his own.
No.
Yeah.
So it's like, one, I think he was too young to be instigating with these two characters, with Batman and Superman. I'm like, why is he so young? He should be older.
And it kind of makes him like a pompous brat.
Yeah, they kind of make him like a snotty rich boy who wants to just do what he wants because he can, because he has power, because he was inherited it by his parents.
He doesn't like Superman because
apparently he has too much power. He's like, well, you're a god among men, and I want you to bow to my will or something.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Okay, one, he's too young. Two, he has weird long hair, which I was like,
ginger hair.
Why? I'm like, okay, is it just so that when he does go bald, it's a big difference? Like, why does he have this ugly long hair? Like, he could have just had a normal haircut.
Or he could have just been bald.
Yeah, or he could have just been bald from the beginning because we know Lex to be bald.
When they shave his head at the end of the movie, I was like, I mean, that doesn't look bad. He could have just been bald Lex Luthor the whole movie because they shave his head when he goes to jail.
Yeah, at the end,
which I'm pretty sure they don't actually do that to prisoners. I might be wrong, but I'm like, do they shave prisoners' heads?
I'm not sure. I don't know if it's...
I don't think they... do?
I don't think they do. Like,
They do when you go into the army. Why in prison?
I really don't know. I don't know about the shaving head.
Yeah.
3, I want to know, like, they never explained how he knew, one, about superheroes in the first place. Like, how did he figure out who Bruce was? How did he figure out who Clark was?
Mm-hmm.
When did he start doing all this research to find other metahumans? And why put them two together just so, like, oh, I'll just have them take each other out and then I can reign supreme? Like,
I guess.
I don't get it.
Well, I don't know what he has against Batman. Like, why does he want... He wants Superman to kill Batman because then people won't like Superman, but people already don't like Superman.
Yeah.
And you already had this whole other plot where it's like you blew up the Capitol to make people hate Superman.
Yeah. And I was like, is this just to come back at the senator who stopped him from getting kryptonium?
Kryptonium.
What is it?
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that was...
Kryptonium.
That's
Kryptonite.
fine.
Kryptonite.
Yeah.
And it's... Well, he already has it, but I guess to make it a weapon.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, he gets it, and it's like... Okay, he has it, and it's like, does he expect... Because Batman steals it from him to use it against Superman. So if he was setting up the fight between Batman and Superman from the get-go...
Wouldn't he want...
Batman to steal... So is that the whole purpose of getting the kryptonite? So that Batman could steal it if he didn't have any intention of using it in the first place?
No, I don't think this character thought that.
Well, because then he makes Doomsday. He makes the gloopy Doomsday
was that
villain.
all about? Like, why he wanted permission to get into the ship, the Kryptonian ship.
Yes.
He wanted Zod's body.
Yes.
And take it there, and then mixed his blood with Zod's body with this weird water thing in the ship to make this creature, I guess, is called Doomsday, which I don't think anybody would know that unless you knew the comics.
Yeah, if you didn't know who that character was and you just watched this movie, you're like, why is there now just a big goopy monster man?
Yeah, I'm just like, what's with this creepy creature that we just created?
Like, they could have definitely gone more into... If you want to introduce Doomsday, go into, like, how he is in the comics, where it's like he was, like, a prisoner on another planet.
Was he, like, from somewhere, and then he was a prisoner on Krypton?
I think so. And then... maybe something like that. I honestly don't know much about Doomsday. But I know it's like he was like a prisoner, and then he escaped, and then he made his way to Earth. And in the comics, it's like he goes through all of the Justice League. Like, he fights them all and beats them, and then Superman's the only one who can stop him. So then him and Superman fight to the death.
Okay.
That's how it happens.
So I guess that's why we kill Superman in this.
Because we had Doomsday show up.
Right.
And he doesn't even look... I don't like it that... Because how he looks at the end where he has, like, all the protruding bones and stuff. Like, that's how he's supposed to look.
Gross.
It's gross, but I hate how it's like a build-up, too. Like, he just looks like a cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
It did,
Like, he doesn't look like Doomsday. You're like, what is this? I don't get it. It just seems like a weird choice.
That was pretty much the question I had in my head throughout the whole movie. What is this? I don't get it.
What? I don't get this movie.
I don't get it. The motivation, I think that's what I'm hung up about, is like, why are these characters doing what they're doing? Because it's not matching their morals.
Yeah. I think it would make more sense, say, if, like, you had Lex Luthor.
Well, his initial beef is with Superman.
Yeah.
So it's like... But I feel like there should have been more backstory to that. Because in Superman's eyes, he has no idea who this Lex Luthor guy is.
Right.
He's like,
this is the first time they're kind of meeting.
Like, I just met you. Apparently you hate me.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, they're supposed to have more of a history.
Because I think in the comics and in the animated series, which I want you to watch eventually because I feel like it will redeem a lot of Superman for you.
Okay.
But in it, it's like Lex Luthor... He's, like, always behind things, but it can't be traced back to him. But as the series goes on, Superman figures out, like, he knows, like, I know it's you, Lex.
Right.
So it's, like, it builds up this tension between them. Where this, it's like, why does he hate him? Because the whole purpose of Lex hating Superman in the source material is like Lex Luthor always thought of himself like he's the superior man.
Yeah.
Like he's super fit, he's super intelligent. He built this billion-dollar company from the ground up.
Yeah.
You know, he is the world's best man. And then you have Superman come along, who now everyone says he's the best man because and he just has powers and he saves people and everyone glorifies him, and he's like, no, that's not right. He's not from this earth. And so that's what kind of creates the beef between them.
Which that's more understandable as opposed to what this was.
Right.
It's like he would just go on these weird, like, psychotic rants, and you're just like, what are you talking
about gods and demons from hell and this
and
that,
like he felt more Joker to me.
Yeah, I almost felt like Riddler.
But he just, either one. He just felt more psychotic. He didn't. There was no evil genius about him. It was more just like
crazy.
You're psycho.
He's just a psycho boy.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, you could have done something a little more interesting. Like, I thought if you're giving Batman this motivation to hate Superman like this, and you could have done Lex Luthor similar to that, why not have it? I thought this is what they were going to do. I thought it was going to be like, oh, Batman and Lex Luthor are going to work together to take down Superman.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they both have a common goal, I feel like they would have worked together.
Yeah, which would have been interesting.
And then as somehow maybe Batman and Superman were interacting, maybe then Batman would have more of an understanding of Superman.
Right.
And then change his mind and then realize Lex is the true villain.
And then they got to take him down.
And then they take him down together.
And I don't think they should have done Doomsday. You could have done another villain like the Parasite, he's like that weird guy who can, he like absorbs energy and stuff. Which they kind of act. Oh my gosh, they actually did it with Doomsday in this movie. Energy makes him powerful. But that's what the Parasite in the Superman comics does. They should have just done the Parasite. I don't know why they had to do Doomsday. Because, you could have just had them... Like, Lex could have, like, just made, like, this monster. And it could have been, like, kind of Frankenstein-esque. But it could have been, like, this was his plan.
Yeah.
Like, he planned to make this monster to kill Superman. It didn't have to be, like... it's like his plan just kind of... strings along by chance.
Again, it just seems like it was too much.
It was.
Like, there was... Like, I think they try to be too complicated with the story.
Yeah.
I'm like, give the villain the one main motivator and then run with that. Mm-hmm. Like, what's... Like, okay, is it getting Krypton?
Kryptonium. No, that's not it. Kryptonite. Yeah.
Kryptonite.
Just remember the song. If I behind you still call me Superman. I'm holding my hand. Right. Kryptonite.
Okay.
Yeah, just remember that.
Okay. I don't know why I've never had a problem with that before.
No, it's fine.
But now I
will... Well, this movie's broken you as it's broken me.
It is. Like, I feel like I'm talking in circles because I just am trying to make sense of this nonsensical movie.
This is why I get upset, though, talking about this, because I can always find a better movie. Like, I'm like, if they had just done this different, this movie could have been so good, but this is what we got.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you were saying?
What was I saying?
Kryptonite.
Oh, like, okay, like, yeah, if his main motivation was to take down Superman, and one, how did he find the big rock of kryptonite in the Indian Ocean?
Just some kids found it.
Just some kids found it.
Well, because it's where the world machine was.
Right.
And they found, and there was just, I guess, a bunch of, like, parts of the machine that broke off, and it, like, made these kryptonite deposits, and that's what they got out of the ocean. But
what does that mean? Like, the ship created kryptonite?
I don't know.
Like, I don't get that.
Yeah.
Why would a Kryptonian ship do that if this was the one thing that makes them weak?
Well, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain it. Well, because... Okay, yeah, you're right. Well, the thing with kryptonite is that what kryptonite is, it's fragments of Krypton that blew up. So it's like, so it's like tainted, like,
I guess I never
sediments
knew
of the planet.
What it was.
Yeah, and so because that they've been...
I just know it's always green.
It's green. It's always green, and it's almost like, it's like this radiated, like, earth, like, that... like mineral.
Right.
And it's harmful to Superman because his biology, even though his biology is like Krypton's biology, he feeds off of like our nature in order to survive. So I think any fragments from his homeworld that can kill him. That's kind of the idea.
Okay.
But why the machine creates the kryptonite, I don't know.
Okay.
But they don't really explain it.
No.
It's just like there's kryptonite.
Yeah, and then apparently Lex has the idea to test it on Zod's dead body and sees that it breaks down Kryptonian cells.
Yeah.
So he knows, like, oh, this will hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. And, well, then why not just go with that of, like,
let's just
keep it with the kryptonite as the main weapon? Why create Doomsday Gloopy Man?
Because we wanted to do Death of Superman in this movie, as well as have Batman fight Superman and introduce the Justice League.
So pretty much, we just have to take everything and smush it all together in one movie.
Pretty much. And which is, I find it so bizarre that it's like it's a 3-hour movie where you're trying to smush all this together, and yet most of the movie doesn't feel like a superhero movie.
Nope.
It feels just like this long drive. Because, like, building up to the fight, it takes forever. It takes so long. Like, it's coming. Like, you see Batman. He has the armor on and all this crap. And then
which that armor, I'm sorry, was a little comical.
It is, yeah. It looks kind of goofy in this version.
Which I'm like, it's this big clunky thing, and I get it's supposed to be, like, extra protection for him because he's fighting Superman. But come on. With the amount of times he got whipped around by him...
Yeah.
I think he would have been severely hurting more than he was. It was like
definitely.
I was like, what'd you do?
Oh, yes.
It's like, what'd you do? Put, like, a ton of padding in there? Like, no way.
Well, they got that from the Dark Knight Returns comic where Batman fights Superman, but the way that he has to fight him in that comic, he has to be more strategic with it.
Sure.
Like, he has to... Like, he knows that the armor's only, like, somewhat of a protection, because there are parts where Superman just grabs the armor and just, like... rips things off of it and stuff, you know? And the fight in that comic, Batman, he's not into this fight. Like, he's not trying to kill Superman. He's trying to delay Superman. But he's, like, doing all this stuff. Like, he takes part of the suit and he hooks it up to, like, a lamppost. And he's able to hook himself up to, like, the Gotham electricity, like, mainframe. And he, like, electrocutes Superman. So he has to do all of these things as well as wearing... Like, the armor's just to protect him, but he has to do all these other things in order to fight him.
Sure.
You know, it's not just, I have this armor that's going to protect me.
And it's not... I don't think he, like, is punching Superman. I really don't think that would hurt him.
No. Well, he weakens him with, like, the gas kryptonite.
Oh, yeah. He harnesses kryptonite to make it into gas bombs.
Which, again, it's like, I want to kind of know how you do that.
We don't see any of that. We don't see him getting the kryptonite, stealing it from Lex. We don't see him harvesting it and making it, using his technology to harness it to make it into these gas bombs, or make this kryptonite spear. Like, we don't see any of that. He just has these things now.
Well, the thing that upsets me is that I feel like a lot of this movie is dedicated to just a bunch of crap we don't care about, and then all the stuff that, like, I do want to see and want to learn about, they just kind of like do.
The last 20 minutes.
They just kind of like skim through it, like Batman breaking into LexCorp. Like, I would like to see that, like, full on, but instead we get like this half-ass Batmobile chase where he's like killing a bunch of dudes, and it's like I'm sorry, but like the Batmobile chase is just like whatever. Like, I guess it's fine, but I think for me it's just like coming off of, like, do you remember the Batmobile chase in The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Where it's the Joker and he's in the truck, and then then Batman's on the motorcycle and all this, and it's like, I feel like nothing will ever top that. I think from what it looks like from the shows for the new Batman movie, the Robert Pattinson one, it actually they look like they're doing more practical stuff. So I think that's a good route to go, because it's just so dull and boring. And like, we had your your sister and our brother-in-law were over last night to watch it with us.
Yes.
And at one point he was like, I'm enjoying this. And I honestly thought, like, I'm glad you are enjoying this. And I didn't want to say it out loud, but I was like, I am kind of bored.
I know.
I was honestly like bored watching it. I thought like, oh, this will be fun. But I'm like, this is a boring movie, man. Like, I can't believe they did it.
I know.
How can you make a Batman versus... It's called Batman versus Superman is the title of the movie, and somehow they made it just boring.
Yeah. Maybe that was very sweet of him if he was really genuinely enjoying the movie, but maybe he was just enjoying being with us.
I think, well, yeah, I think he just likes being with us and being together and watching the movie, which I'm like, I'm glad. I think I'm just glad that he wasn't bored, because I was honestly... I know your sister was probably like in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
What is going on?
What is the point of any of this? What's the And it was funny, is like, apparently she had seen it before, but she's like, I don't remember anything.
Because she probably just,
blocked it from her
memory.
Like, I don't need to remember any of this.
None of the important information.
This has nothing to do with my existence. But yeah, it's just
yucky.
It amazes me just how terrible it is. And I know this movie has its defenders, and if you want to at me on this, go for it. I will go toe to toe with you, because if you try to say that this is a good movie and that it's so intellectual that I don't understand it, it's just something that like you don't get. Okay, come at me, because I will rock your world.
I will rock your world.
It's just so dumb. I mean, this movie's just dumb and idiotic. It is.
I know.
And it's upsetting. And I think it's like I think what upsets me the most is that, one, I continuously talk about it.
Maybe this will be your final
I think this needs to be
rant.
It.
Like, this is it.
I can't go on anymore.
No. You're laying it all out there, and this is the last we'll have to talk about it.
Well, because when this was coming out, it was like Man of Steel came out, and I thought it was fine. Like, when I saw it, I wasn't like the biggest Superman fan at the time, so I was like, whatever. Like, it was fine. It wasn't great, but it wasn't like terrible. But then this movie was like built up probably for my entire college career. For like the majority of the time I was in college, this was like, oh, Batman vs. Superman. Oh, Batman vs. It was coming. It's coming. Be ready. We're going to do the Justice League and all this stuff. It's happening. And so it was like all this built up, and it was just a big letdown. And I think this was like my first big lesson of like, you know what? Don't get hyped for this kind of stuff, because you don't know how it's going to turn out. You shouldn't put your faith in like something like this, you know?
Yeah.
Which is how I feel about like how people have to react now to like the new Star Wars movies. There's all this pressure for the stuff to be good, and when it's not, everyone gets upset. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad I already went through that, because I love Star Wars as much as like the next guy, but it's like when these new movies came out and people got upset about them, it's like, I'm not going to let myself get too upset about these, because I've already been through this.
Yeah.
You know? So, gosh. I think you're going to have to help put me back together after this.
That's okay. I will.
So
needless to say.
Yeah, I know this isn't a yuck or yum technically, but do you have any final thoughts? There's something else I want to say too, but do you have any final thoughts you want to say real quick?
I feel like I've said my piece. Like, I feel like I've made aware of the issues I have with this movie. And what, oddly enough, okay, I guess my final remark will be that I didn't get into the movie until the end where Wonder Woman shows up. Then I was like, here we go. Because you hear her music, which is... It's so good. It's like, it hypes you up, and you're like, finally, this feels like a superhero movie. Yeah. She's showed up. She's here to, kick some butt.
The movie is saved.
But
it's not.
But it's okay. Like, she shows up. She does her thing. And, that was when I was like, ooh, finally, something I can enjoy.
What I thought was funny, though, is that when she shows up and, like, they make the whole big thing about the spear. Like, we have to get the kryptonite spear to stab Doomsday because he's Kryptonian. That's the only thing that can kill him. Yeah. You and your sister were both like, give Wonder Woman the spear. just give her the spear. Kryptonite has no effect on her. Just give her the spear. But for some reason, Superman takes it and he stabs Doomsday.
Well, he apparently, he hears Lois because she went to go get the spear back after she threw it into this water pit thing because she realized, I guess we need this back. So I guess I'll go get it. And then explosions, walls fall on top of her. She's blocked under the water. She's going to drown. But then Superman finally hears her knocking, punching the wall of to be like, hey, I'm stuck. Help me. And then he then goes and gets it, which I'm like, okay, that's fine because he needs to be the one because he's the only one there because he heard her and I don't think anybody else would have heard her. Maybe Diana could have heard her. Does she have superhuman hearing?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I think her stuff's more, she's just super strong and
maybe not then. Okay, so he was the only one who could hear her, so I'm fine with that.
I don't think Wonder Woman has super senses.
Okay. So he got it outright, and I get that was hard because he makes him weak. And then, then Lois, she kind of kicks it away. But then what could have happened was instead of Superman being one to take it, why not Lois grab it? He then takes them to where it's going out to Wonder Woman, gives it to Wonder Woman, and be like,
this will kill it.
Use this. This will kill it. She could have easily.
Yeah.
But no. She had to use the lasso and hold him down. And Batman had to pop some kryptonite gas in him.
Which I do think it's kind of funny that when the fight starts, it's obviously Wonder Woman and Superman beating on Doomsday, but Batman's just like, oh,
my guy's going.
I gotta hide under here. Oh no.
It's after me.
I'm only a man.
Yeah. Which Kelsey was getting so pissed. She's like, why is he even there?
Why is Batman even there? He can't do anything.
He can't do anything.
No,
I know. But then,
I know, Kelsey.
Why not give it
I know.
Give it to Wonder Woman. But no. We can't have a woman save the day.
Well, we need to have Superman sacrifice himself because we're doing Death of Superman.
That's the whole purpose of this, I guess. Which I feel like that should have been a different movie.
You're right. You're right about a lot of things with this.
Thank you.
The only other thing I was going to say, so the reason I kind of wanted to do this is because also the new Justice League movie's coming out.
Right.
Which I think are you confused on what that movie is?
Yes.
Do you need me to? Okay.
I don't think you need to be the whole. I think I get that this is Justice League. So now we actually will physically have Flash and Cyborg and we'll have them there. But I haven't seen the Justice League movie, so I don't know what's the. I guess that's the whole thing is we'll see the difference once the Snyder Cut comes out. Yeah.
Well, what I can tell you is the Justice League movie that came out was obviously because this movie did so poorly critically wise. Because when this movie came out, they had just started filming the Justice League movie.
Right.
So because this movie didn't do well critically wise and financially it really tanked because of that, they wanted to do a bunch of reshoots and re-edits, and Zack Snyder ended up leaving the project because he had a family tragedy. So they brought in Joss Whedon, the guy who has done Buffy and the other Avengers movies, the first two Avengers movies, and Firefly and all this stuff. And they brought him in. I'm sure everyone who listens to this knows who Joss Whedon is.
Right.
But he did some reshoots and all this, and then that movie came out, and people didn't like that one either. And then there was this big call to have Zack Snyder's original version come out because apparently his version was going to have all this other stuff in it, and it was going to be a lot better, and it was going to explain a lot of what happens in Batman vs Superman, especially the nightmare sequence and the Flash showing up, and all this crazy stuff was going to be explained in his version of the movie. So now, because of a bunch of stuff, because of the pandemic and because of HBO Max coming out, they decided to fund this Snyder version and just put it straight onto streaming and as a way to kind of promote HBO Max. So now we're getting this 4-hour Justice League movie that is going to be the correct follow-up, I guess, to what this movie is.
Okay.
And so the Justice League movie with that Joss Whedon made, like, that's kind of like null and void now. Like, you don't have to see it because it's basically going to be the same movie.
So is it the same thing? Just the Zack Snyder cut will have more?
Yeah.
Or is he taking anything out?
There was a lot of stuff they reshot for that Justice League movie. So there is going to be a lot of stuff, one that is different, and a lot of extra stuff that we just didn't see. Because it's going from being like a 2-hour movie with maybe like, I'd say like an hour and 20 minutes cut out, and then adding on top of that like all the extra stuff of like Zack Snyder's different type like of effects and like situations, and then added scenes on top of that. So I think it's going to be like a similar movie, but it's also going to be a lot different because there's going to be a lot of setup for more Justice League movies that they're probably not going to make because they just want to be done with this version of all this and whatever.
And that comes out March 18th?
It comes out in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So we're not going to review that. I don't know why I did this. I mean, now we're making it a Yuckathon, so I guess like that's good. We'll get back on track with like the regular show next week.
Yes.
So that's what the Snyder Cut is. So I was just going to talk about my expectations. I don't have any, and I don't care. I think I just want to watch it to get it over with at this point. I hope it's good. I really do. I hope it's good so that, it can just...
DC can have a redemption.
I guess Zack Snyder can have his redemption. I don't know. Because I think Zack Snyder's a cool guy. Like, he seems like a nice guy. And like he can direct movies. It's just his plots are just so... Ugh.
They just seem convoluted.
They're convoluted. They don't make sense. I think the only other Zack Snyder movie that I've seen where it's like he originally wrote it... Because the only other movies I've seen of his outside of this is like 300 and Watchmen, which aren't things that he wrote. They're based off of comic books as well. But Sucker Punch was like an original idea of his, and that movie's just awful.
It sounds like he shouldn't write. Like, maybe he can direct and he knows how to film action scenes and big explosions and blah, 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 but Definitely. He shouldn't write.
I would definitely say that the Batman warehouse scene, like, that is good Batman combat. I think it's...
they could do that same scene just without killing people.
They could, without killing people. I always thought, like, that should have been, like, at the beginning of the movie.
That would have been a better opening.
Yeah, we should have seen Batman,
for him
like...
as Batman.
Yeah, Batman kicking ass, like, right out of the beginning. Like, that would have been a good setup for that character, but no, we don't see it till the end. You don't really see Batman fight at all until that scene. Because rewatching him and Superman's fight, I was like, wow, that was awful.
Yeah.
Like, it's all this build up to the fight, and the fight is just boring and awful.
Yeah, and let's not even talk about that stupid dream sequence.
The nightmare scene.
The nightmare stuff.
No, it is what it is. Apparently, they're going to explain more about that in this Justice League movie. Martha.
Well, do you have anything else? Or no. I think we're drained from this now.
I'm drained.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take a nap after this.
Yeah, let's go. Why don't we go make some French toast?
Let's make some French toast.
Yeah.
And not think about this movie ever again.
Okay. Well, if you made it this far with us,
we're sorry.
We're sorry, and we thank you that you stuck it out with us. We got through our first Yuckathon, and then maybe sometime we'll do a Yumathon and have some nice things to say.
Did you learn anything about me from watching this?
Did I learn anything about you from watching this? That's probably not a fair question for this movie.
Okay.
I think I learned that you feel very strongly about these characters, and when they are not shown in the correct way, that this upsets you.
It does. Well, do you want to give a preview of what we're going to watch for the next episode?
Yes, so for the next episode, it's my choice, and I was looking at what we have reviewed thus far, And I think my next choice is going to be something that I don't think anybody has seen before.
So if you want to tune in for the next episode, you might want to watch this movie, I guess.
Yes, which I guess is not really fair because it's not on any streaming services. It used to be on Netflix, and now I'm sad because it's not. And I literally had to order it off of Amazon. Like on DVD.
So now we're going to own this.
So now we're going to have this movie. But I really like this movie.
Okay.
And it's very different.
Okay.
It's called In Your Eyes. It came out in 2014. And it has Zoe. I don't really know how to say her last name, to be honest with you. It's like Kavada. It's Zoe. What a name. Zoe Kazan. Zoe Kazan.
Okay.
Which she's been in some things. I think people recognize her.
Oh, she was in The Big Sick.
Yeah, The Big Sick, Ruby Sparks. That? I have not seen that.
Big Sick's good.
Yeah, she's done a couple things out there.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see what you'll think of it.
Yeah. I mean, I will definitely give my opinion on it.
So good. I want you to.
No, I'm just going to be silent the whole episode. Just like, no.
Just let me do all the talking.
Yep, I refuse.
So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Don't Yuck My Yum.
Yeah, and we hope that you've enjoyed this. I don't even know what you call it. This
adventure
rant
with us.
Yeah, this ranting adventure.
Yeah. And if you could, we would absolutely love it if you guys get the word out, share our podcasts to your friends and family, and
have them check it out.
Give us a review
if you want,
a comment. If you send us a message on Instagram or an email, whatever you want. Give us some tips. If you guys have any recommendations of what you personally like or don't like and would like us to review.
Yeah, all of that.
So thank you, and we will see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, this is Carlito Gilchrist from the Don't Yuck My Yum pod. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in and listening every week. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to leave a review for the show, you can leave it on Apple Podcasts. You can give us a 1 to 5 star rating. We prefer the 5-star ratings, but it's your opinion. It's whatever you like. As well, you can listen to us on Spotify and Anchor.fm and anywhere else where podcasts are available. I believe we're up on there. If you have any suggestions for future episodes or insights on past episodes, you can always email us at don'tyuckmyyumpod@gmail.com. As well, you can follow us on Don't Yuck My Yum Pod on Instagram. And yeah, I just want to say thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. Have a good week. So long. Bye-bye.